Zhang Yi and Phoenix Ren both had only one thought in their minds: kill the other at all costs, as quickly as possible, and with the least amount of effort. Scatter. Zhang Yi gave the order to everyone. Eclipse Moon Team member, Heavy Artilleryman Akira Kurosawa. He readied the large cannon. He aimed it at Zhang Yi and the others below and began to bombard them. A huge beam of light condensed from the cannon and was aimed at Zhang Yi. However, the result was that the supernatural attack was like a cow plunging into the sea, and it was directly absorbed into the dimensional space. Jinguji Saikairo formed hand seals with both hands at a speed so fast that they were hard to see, and then produced dozens of paper dolls in a flash. As a cloud of smoke rose, more than 10 huge Shikigami were summoned. Apart from the 5 main Shikigami from his core ability, the rest were all created by him specifically to deal with Zhang Yi, using his exploding demon dog ability. There is an upper limit to his use of dimensional space. As long as his energy is overloaded, his ability will be rendered useless. This information was included in Zhang Yi's personal file by the Jiangnan region headquarters. The source of the information was a battle at the West Mountain base about half a year ago to suppress Zhang Yi's sanctuary. Zhang Yi's dimensional space was first overloaded by an explosion equivalent to 500 tons of TNT. Since then, the weakness of dimensional space has been revealed, that is, the energy it absorbs is not unlimited. This secret was also told to Eclipse Moon by the mole in Blizzard City. However, there is an unexpected twist. The mole did not know that Zhang Yi's strength had reached the level of a captain. And the upper limit of his dimensional space's capacity is also far beyond what it was at the beginning. Go! Jinguji Saikairo activated his Shikigami and began attacking Zhang Yi. A group of self-destructing demon dogs led the way. His goal was simple: once Zhang Yi's dimensional gate was broken, Zhang Yi's combat effectiveness would be reduced by more than 70%. At that time, they could easily kill Zhang Yi. How did Zhang Yi not know the opponent's goal? Yet Jinguji Saikairo was using an obvious strategy. If Zhang Yi did not use the dimensional gate to block, then he could not use his own strength to counter the self-destruction of the Shikigami. Even if he could escape, the people around him would be killed. Zhang Yi dismissed everyone around him and, without hesitation, opened the dimensional gate to absorb the exploding demon dogs. Then he allowed the exploding demon dogs to explode within his alternate dimension. Jinguji Saikairo's face broke into a smile of joy. He still had many of these self-destructing Shikigami. Over the past period of time, he had been trying to figure out how to deal with Zhang Yi, their most troublesome opponent. But at this moment, he noticed the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth slowly raising. "Do you really think you've got me in your grasp?" The smile on Zhang Yi's lips grew stronger. Then he opened his palm towards the mutants of Eclipse Moon. "It seems that your intelligence is not very accurate. I can rebound all attacks in physical form. And the energy of explosions also belongs to a form of physical energy." In the palm of his hand, the dimensional gate suddenly opened. All the energy of the self-destructing demon dogs that he had absorbed found an outlet at this time, transforming into a huge energy beam that pierced towards the mountain. That was the energy of more than 10 demon dogs, and the beam of light turned the entire battlefield white. The power of this strike was not much weaker than Zhang Yi's condensed void. The members of the Eclipse Moon group were shocked. "Watch out, that's over 500 tons of TNT worth of supernatural energy." Jinguji Saikairo shouted in disbelief. If they were hit head-on by this energy, they would definitely die. At the critical moment, Phoenix Ren stood in front of the energy beam. The phoenix blood in his body burned furiously, and a huge 3-headed phoenix appeared behind him. Facing Zhang Yi's fierce attack, he opened his hands and used his flesh to block it. Boom! A huge energy wave exploded on the hilltop, but it was all absorbed by Phoenix Ren. His body was almost disintegrated, revealing the internal skeletal frame and internal organs. Then, relying on the immortal ability of the phoenix, his body quickly returned to its original state. But his face was gloomy and terrifying. Zhang Yi returned Jinguji Saikairo's self-destructive demon dog's powers, which meant that they had made a huge mistake in their assessment of Zhang Yi's abilities. They had originally thought that Zhang Yi's dimensional space was like a water tank, and that as long as there was enough water, sooner or later the tank would burst. But they had not expected that Zhang Yi's dimensional space was more like a spring. The spring would only lose its power when it was filled with too much energy at once. Otherwise, he can completely absorb the energy within his range and bounce it back. Phoenix Ren looked at Zhang Yi a little annoyed. Jinguji couldn't help but cover his forehead. Is this the legendary mutant with the #1 defense? No matter what kind of supernatural power it is, as long as it is developed to the extreme, it will manifest great power. Zhang Yi didn't focus on the offensive aspect of his powers, but rather the defensive side. Especially after witnessing the deaths of many powerful mutants, his thoughts were even more firm. Even powerful people like Deng Shintong and Yuan Kongyue could be killed, so what is truly safe in this world? Only by wrapping himself in his little blanket, taking every step carefully, and never taking risks lightly, could he survive in this dangerous world. This guy, I'm the only one who can deal with him. You guys go deal with the others, Phoenix Ren said in a deep voice. He glanced at Satoru Shimano and Mayumi Takeuchi. Satoru, you protect Mayumi. Satoru Shimano nodded. Don't worry, boss. Even if I die, I will protect Miss Mayumi. Behind him stood a tall figure wrapped in a black cloak. It was very tall and did not say a word, giving a feeling of eeriness and power. Phoenix Ren turned his head and looked at Zhang Yi in the middle of the battlefield, then he took a deep leap and charged towards Zhang Yi. Bloody streaks ran across his skin, bright red as blood. 10 bright red bloodshot orbs popped out of his fingertips and shot towards Zhang Yi. The 10 bloodshot orbs were round, each with strange lines swimming around them. But while they were still in the air, they suddenly turned into 10 fire crows. Demon Slayer Flame. Seeing Phoenix Ren taking action himself, Zhang Yi's gaze became extremely serious. He had learned a little about Phoenix Ren's abilities from the intelligence Deng Shintong had passed on before dying. However, it was not comprehensive. Similarly, Phoenix Ren did not have a comprehensive understanding of his abilities. Therefore, if the two fought to the death, it would be hard to say who would win. And at this time, Zhang Yi was in the middle of a battlefield, so it was impossible for him to escape. If he left, the others would be indiscriminately slaughtered. So Zhang Yi's chosen approach was to entangle them. Phoenix Ren already knew about his space power, but deliberately unleashed the fire phoenixes in an indiscriminate attack, which meant that the fire crows were something extraordinary. Instead of using dimensional space to collect them, Zhang Yi directly opened the 2 doors and instantly teleported hundreds of meters away. But the 10 fire phoenixes seemed to have life of their own, quickly pursuing him once again. It was as if they would never stop. Zhang Yi's heart stirred, and he turned up his microphone so that his voice could echo across the battlefield. There are 20 minutes left, and the reincarnation squad from Linhai City next door will arrive on the battlefield. We just need to hold out for 20 minutes, and you're doomed. That's why we won't fight to the death with you. Because you don't stand a chance of winning. The key is to attack the heart. What he wants is for the Sky Dragon Pirates and Eclipse Moon to be anxious. Unexpectedly, Phoenix Ren shouted coldly, that's why we have to kill you even faster. We won't give you the chance to join forces. Phoenix Ren, with a body like a dragon, rushed towards Zhang Yi as fast as lightning. The 10 fire crows formed a huge cage in the air, blocking all the directions Zhang Yi could escape. Zhang Yi took out the white eagle and started shooting at the fire crows. Holy silver bullets can break magic and have a certain restraining effect on this kind of thing. Bang! Bang! Zhang Yi raised his hand and lowered his gun, hitting 2 fire crows. Sure enough, after being shot, the fire crows directly dispersed in the air. But the time it took him to raise his hand gave the other fire crows the opportunity to get close. 3 fire crows attacked from 3 directions, already surrounding him. What the hell is this? Zhang Yi had to deploy the 2 realms junction to absorb the fire crows' attacks. After the three phoenixes entered Zhang Yi's dimensional space, they immediately disintegrated in mid-air and turned into bloody smoke. A very uncomfortable feeling arose in Zhang Yi's heart. He clearly felt that his dimensional space was being eroded. It was as if 3 drops of sewage had fallen into clear water and quickly spread. What's more, it wasn't an energy-based attack, but rather something like a supernatural toxin, which Zhang Yi was unable to expel. Fortunately, Zhang Yi's dimensional space is large enough that it has not been completely destroyed. However, after this kind of attack accumulates to a certain level, it will definitely cause the dimensional gate to be unable to open. So it was this thing that killed Phoenixren. Even a powerful mutant like Phoenixren was unable to stop this kind of supernatural speed erosion. It can even be said to be a toxic flame fueled by supernatural power. You can't take this kind of thing head-on. Zhang Yi was not alarmed. This amount was still far from enough to close his dimensional space. However, if he continued to consume it, it was only a matter of time before his abilities would fail. And without opening the dimensional gate, he would not be able to face Phoenixren's close-range attacks. His thoughts were quick, but in reality, the time he was given was almost non-existent. Phoenixren came at him with a large group of fire crows. Zhang Yi flipped his left hand, and the other White Eagle pistol appeared in his left hand. He aimed at Phoenixren and fired with 20 times the normal speed. Phoenixren was also afraid to take Zhang Yi's bullet, so he rolled in the air to avoid the bullet that was dozens of times the speed of sound as it flew towards him. Zhang Yi took this opportunity to press a button on his wrist. The captain-level combat suit specially made by the Deng group for him suddenly bulged on the back, and 2 powerful propulsion devices appeared on his back. As blue flames shot out behind him, he soared high into the air like a rocket. This technology has existed for half a century. It was originally developed as a personal combat technology. However, it was later discovered that humans are very inflexible when it comes to movement in the air. If this weapon appeared on the battlefield, it would most likely make soldiers easy targets, so the technology was gradually phased out. However, there is one situation in which this technology can be reactivated. That is when soldiers are not worried about being sniped from a distance in the air. For example, Zhang Yi, who has the ability of 2 realms junction, is the perfect fit for this flying prop. Zhang Yi had always wondered how to create a vantage point for himself in a flat area where he could snipe from a distance over a wide area. Later, when he went to the Deng group, he found his answer. That is the ability to fly. So he asked the technology department of the Deng group to help him add the ability to fly to his combat suit. This technology is very easy to implement. Although the energy consumption will be greater in extremely cold temperatures, there is absolutely no problem maintaining his flight for an hour. So on the battlefield, there appeared such a strange sight. Everyone was fighting a big melee on the ground, and suddenly someone soared up into the sky and left the battlefield. Phoenixren also looked up at the sky in some shock. Even if he were to increase his speed, he would not be able to leap into the air and attack Zhang Yi in the air. What the hell is this bastard doing flying so high? Phoenixren smiled evilly. If you don't come down, I'll kill all your beloved teammates. Zhang Yi, in the air, looked down at the earth, and the humans at his feet were as small as ants. The entire battlefield was within his field of vision. Even if someone tried to aim a firearm at him and shoot, it was all contained within his other dimensional space. As his gaze swept across the land, he suddenly caught sight of a very wonderful target. Mayumi Takeuchi, hiding behind a small hill. I found you. Before dying, Deng Shintong transmitted an extremely important piece of information to Blizzard City headquarters. Mayumi Takeuchi has the ability to help people see the future. This is why when Deng Shintong fought Phoenixren, even though Phoenixren had been deprived of his 5 senses, he was still able to accurately pinpoint Deng Shintong's position and angle of attack. In other words, in order to kill Phoenixren, you must first kill Mayumi Takeuchi. Zhang Yi flipped his right hand, and the White Eagle fell into dimensional space. Then he pulled out a long, large weapon, his exclusive sniper rifle, and fired. Ronin, I'm going to kill your shrine maiden. Zhang Yi said with a big smile. Phoenix Ren had originally planned to go kill the members of the Tengu squad. But after hearing Zhang Yi's words, he hesitated, wary of the rat. Among the intelligence he had obtained, there was indeed such a thing. Zhang Yi was a marksman with the ability to snipe from long distances. Because of this ability, Mayumi Takeuchi had to appear near the battlefield. Only in this way could she apply her ability, given by blood, to Phoenix Ren. With this ability, the person being targeted could see everything that happened to all enemies within the next 5 seconds, and could make judgments and counterattacks in advance. If it weren't for this, he would never have let Mayumi Takeuchi appear on the battlefield. Once Mayumi Takeuchi is lost, not only will Phoenix Ren's strength be greatly reduced, but Eclipse Moon will also be reduced to a second-rate team. If measured according to the standards of Blizzard City's supernatural powers, with Mayumi Takeuchi's given by blood ability boost, his supernatural ability index can reach a terrifying 9,300 points. However, once I loses this ability to predict the opponent's movements within 5 seconds, my ability index will plummet to 8,500 points. Phoenix Ren couldn't help but think to himself. Any character at the captain level can easily defeat him. Therefore, Zhang Yi has grasped his weak point. Phoenix Ren hesitated for a split second. Zhang Yi couldn't kill him, but he could kill Mayumi Takeuchi. He had to consider the consequences.